Hey friend, this is Jennifer, and this is the Jennifer Allwood Show, the podcast for women who want to learn how to live an intentional life or build their creative business. I'll be giving you my very best business tips, bringing you interesting guests, giving you a daily dose of Jesus, and I'm committed to always keeping it real. Grab a cup of coffee and let's dive in. I'm so honored that you're here. Well, hey everyone, it's Jennifer. Welcome back to the Jennifer Allwood Show. I'm so excited that you are here. This is episode 120, and this is the episode it's interesting because it's 50 episodes later, well, 49 if you can do good math, from another podcast that I did with the topic of having a free Facebook group. And I wanted to talk about that today because we recently had a big launch of my Creators Roadmap 6-week-long course where I teach creative people all the different ways of making money in the online space. And I have traditionally been very much against free Facebook groups. Now, I know what you're going to say right off the bat. You're going to say, well, Jennifer, aren't all Facebook groups free? Well, they are. But I like doing groups in conjunction with, if you buy this course, then you get into this Facebook group. If you purchase my membership group, my inner circle, where I teach creative people how to build their social media, then we do the community here in a Facebook group. If you purchase the monthly membership, the content is in a library outside of Facebook. So yes, you're in a free Facebook group because all Facebook groups other than the ones Facebook themselves are rolling out with are free. However, I'm talking about people who have a page and people who want to know if they should start a group. And so that is what we are going to discuss today. But first, real quick, I just want to share with you a review that we got from Dana at MDT Woodworks. And so here's what Dana said. She said, "Thank you so much for your recent podcast of what to do when a business idea fails." And if you haven't heard that, it was episode number 118. "I can't put into words how thankful I am that I decided to listen. I've been in such a slump lately. I feel like everything we're trying with our business is failing, that I'm a failure. And honestly, I just want to throw in the towel. But after listening to your podcast, I was reminded that this business is not about me. Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah. It's about how God can use me to be a powerful influence in the lives of others through our businesses. So I'm wiping away my tears. I'm picking myself up off the floor. And I'm going to try again." Dana, thank you so much, first of all, for leaving that review. And I'm so glad that you got some revelation. And I just pray God's blessings over you and your business. And let me tell you something. The best thing you can do for your business is to keep a positive attitude about it. Regardless of what the numbers are saying, regardless of all the things, keeping believing that God has something that he's wanting to do, whether it's in that business or pivoting you slightly or what have you. But believing that you were made for this is certainly going to be key to you getting to the next level in your business. So I'm rooting for you, Dana. Thank you so much for that review. So we are talking about the free Facebook groups. And the last podcast episode I did on this was episode number 71. But we had a launch of my Creators Roadmap course, like I said just a little earlier, back in February. And I wanted to try out the idea of doing a free Facebook group, but just for a few minutes. I wish it was a few minutes. No, I'm kidding. I digress. It was for a couple of weeks. So when you have a group that you just put on the interwebs for a couple of weeks on Facebook, that is called a pop-up group. Okay, so we wanted to do this free pop-up group as a way to support and as a way to kind of curate potential clients for the Creators Roadmap course. And so I'm going to give you the whole update on how that went, what we liked, what we didn't like, whether or not we'll do it again, and have I changed my mind about free Facebook groups? Dun, dun, dun. So here we go. A funny little side note, by the way, I am sitting in a bathroom in a town called Storm Lake, Iowa. I needed to get this podcast episode recorded. I am not home, so I've got a little headset and my iPad, and I'm literally on the tile floor with the bathroom door closed because when you're podcasting, you just need to make sure you have good acoustics. So I just want you to know if the audio on this does not sound quite like it normally does, my fault. I apologize, but this information was too good for us to continue to hold on to, so we just wanted to get it out the door as soon as we could. So let's talk about the free group. We had a free Facebook group, a pop-up group called Ramp Up Your Revenue. And we set this up about 2.5 weeks prior to the opening of my Creators Roadmap course on February the 11th. So it was like the end of January when I got onto my big Facebook page. And you can find my page, Jennifer Allwood. It's got the blue check behind it. It's verified. but we have 355,000 people there. Now, one of the reasons we wanted to do the pop-up group was because I know that a lot of those 355,000 people have been following me for a hot minute. Like, I know my page is 10 years old, which is just crazy. Like, on one hand, doesn't it feel like Facebook just started yesterday? And then on the other hand, I'm like, do I even remember life before Facebook? Like BF before Facebook? I don't know. I don't know that I do. It's funny like that. And so I know that a lot of my 355,000 followers or 360 or whatever it is originally began following me a decade ago for painting, color suggestions, decorating, etc. And a lot of them are not people who want to change that or pivot that into any sort of a business. And so the thinking was, if we start this pop-up group, we can perhaps pull some of those 355,000 people over into this free group where then we wouldn't be annoying all of my audience, number one. And we could just be really intentional about the information that we were giving over in this free group, letting them know up front that we were going to be giving them like 4 videos that would be the prelude to the opening of my Creators Roadmap course. We were going to be giving them a lot of free information. We told them when the group started that it would just be for a very limited amount of time. We wanted to be very upfront about both the intention of the group and the fact that it was a pop-up group, so it would not go on forever and ever. And so that is how we set it up. When we were thinking about, okay, what's the point of this group? And by the way, if you're someone who's like trying to decide, should I have a free group? Should I not have a free group? Listen, you got to have a point. There has to be some sort of an intention. If you're just doing it because you think that the algorithm is going to be sweeter to you, kinder to you in a group, you are so wrong. You are so wrong. A couple of years ago when Facebook groups really got hot, the reason people loved them is because the algorithm, which is what determines what people see of your content, the algorithm for Facebook pages was really starting to it just was starting to see a huge decline. And if you've had a page for a while, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, because 5 years ago, man, it was easy to get something, I won't say easy to get something go viral, but I've had a couple of different things go viral. It was easier to get new people. It was just easier to have your content seen. Well, over the last 5 years in particular, but 2 years for sure, it's harder and harder for a business page to get the content seen. The average right now percentage is somewhere between 3 and 6% of your followers will actually see what you put on your page. So when Facebook rolled out groups, people were like, yes, hallelujah. All right, now I can post things and everybody in the group is going to see every one of my posts. Well, that happened for just a short, hot second. And then Facebook went ahead and put the algorithms into the groups as well. So what that means is, if you are thinking, I'm already going into preachy pants mode, and I don't mean to, but just love me where I'm at, okay? If you are thinking, I'm going to start this Facebook group because I'm so irritated on my page, not everybody's seeing my content, so I'm going to start this free group, and then everybody's going to see all the things, you are so mistaken. You are so mistaken. We have right now 3 Facebook groups that support different things that I have. Okay, so I have a paint finish of the month group. This is a $47 a month program where people who are in the painting industry can join for $47 a month. They get 2 celebrity painters that come in every single month and teach them. We have a whole library of finishes outside of Facebook, and it's got 300 to 400 people in there, and sometimes less than 100 people see the posts. We have another group for my inner circle, my Creators Inner Circle, which is where I teach business people, potential business people, creatives, etc. I don't know why I'm doing like weird pauses, but because I was like, because the thing is, and here's why. Here's the honest truth. Everybody's like, is your group only for creatives? And I'm like, you know what? It's not. Dang it. When we originally started the Creators Inner Circle, we were really focusing on only creatives. And do I have a huge percentage of my entrepreneurs? Are they creative entrepreneurs? Absolutely. But we also have dog walkers, horse trainers, house cleaners, et cetera, real estate agents in this group. So anyhow, inside of my Creators Inner Circle, there is only, a small percentage of the people see every single post. We always tell people when they join my group, make sure that you put in your notifications that you want to be notified every time I do a post in the group, Jennifer Allwood. That way you at least get notified of those. And then we also have my Creators Roadmap Facebook group for people that purchase my Creators Roadmap course. And they, of course, don't see everything either. So what we do in particular in that group is we make sure we're always sending out emails to support whatever we're doing for posts in the group, hoping that people will either see it in the Facebook group or they'll see it in their email. But the truth, my friends, is you cannot start a free Facebook group with the intention of thinking people are going to see more there than what they do on your page, because that is just not true. So our intention of this group was not for more eyeballs on it. Our intention of the group, I'll just be really honest with you, was to curate more sales. So we were trying to take a very hot segment of my big page and put them into a group where we could really nurture them, really love on them, really give them a lot of great free information. And by the way, we gave them this quiz on, how to know which of the 6 ways of making money online best suits you, so you can get started on it first. We gave them how to get your first 1,000 followers on Facebook. I gave them a list of 60 topics they could go live on about Facebook right away. I gave them my Facebook Live training for free that at one point was $77. So we gave them a ton of content for free, with the intention of being that then we were going to be releasing my Creators Roadmap course, which, depending on which, if you wanted to do it on your own, like self-led with no Facebook group, it was $1,000 course. Otherwise, it was $1,297 if you wanted to go through it inside of the Facebook group and have access to me and weekly coaching calls for 6 weeks. Our hope was that we had last year when we launched this course, we did a little over $500,000 in sales. We did $505,000 worth of sales for the Creators Roadmap. So we were hoping to do our first 7-figure launch. We were hoping to get over $1 million in sales. Now, we also knew that we raised the price about 30% from the price point last year. By the way, that's very normal in the online space to keep, a course at one price for about 1 year to 2 years and then start raising your rates. And the reason we raise the rates of the courses is, number one, I'm smarter than what I was 2 years ago when I came out with the course. There's more content. There's deeper content. There are some amazing guest cameo appearances by Amy Porterfield, by Stu McLaren. And it's a good stinking course. We have people getting major results. And so our hope was that we would hit $1 million in sales. The truth is we did not. We did not hit 7 figures. We had a $750,000 launch in 4 days. Now, listen, some of you are listening to this right now and you're going to say, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine $750,000 in 4 days. Listen, there was a time when I couldn't either. And I think at some point, and in fact, if you would like for me to do a podcast episode on just breaking down some of the financials of what it actually looks like to do a $750,000 launch, because the truth is there's a lot of expenses that come out of that. Uncle Sam wants his part. We have, my team that needs their part. There's Facebook ads that comes out of that. There are affiliates we pay out of that. And so I know that $750,000 sounds like crazy money. And trust me, it is. You guys, please hear my heart when I say that is an insane amount of money. But the truth is, I was still disappointed we didn't hit 7 figures. And I really thought that with this free Facebook group that we would really had a great chance of doing that. We had, I should probably say this at the beginning, over 13,000 people join that Ramp Up Your Revenue group. But we did not hit the $1 million mark on that launch. I do believe, by the way, we are reopening that course in January. I have no doubt in my mind we will hit $1 million. I'm guessing we'll actually probably hit $1.5 million is my best guesstimate based on what we have done in the past. And whether or not we use a free Facebook group as part of that strategy again or not, I'm not real sure. But that was the intention, to go from a $500,000 launch to $1 million launch, and it didn't quite happen that way. So what did we end up liking about the Facebook group? Well, in terms of what I liked about having that free group, I liked that our team tried something new. I was telling my husband when we were on our way here to Storm Lake, Iowa, I actually have an aunt that passed away, and so we're here for her funeral. And I was telling him that one of the things that I'm really proud of, that I think I do well, is that I take advice really well. I feel like when people say to me, hey, Jennifer, you should try this, and they are further along in the journey than I am, or when I see an entrepreneur who is where I hope to be, I feel like I do a great job of studying. I feel like I'm an expert at watching others and being like, okay, I see how this just worked for them. I see that they just did this. And it makes me curious about, okay, would that work for me? Now, there are times, I know, for instance, when my friend Stu McLaren, my mentor, was telling me to close my inner circle, I'm like, no. And everything inside of me was screaming, but he's further along than I am. He knows more than I do. He's got a business that is way more profitable than mine is. And so even though I went kicking and screaming, I still went. And we ended up adding, it's been a year and a half ago now, but 1,200 new members in just, a week's time to my paid group. And so I feel like I do a good job of trying things, even if I don't want to. And the truth was, I really didn't want to try the free Facebook group because, as you remember, on podcast number 71, I told y'all that I do not like the idea of free Facebook groups. And I gave you 8 very valid reasons as to why. However, I know that some of the people who are more successful than I am, I'm literally having a hip cramp right now. If you hear me wiggling around, I'm looking like a fish, like that's washed up on the shore right now of this tile bathroom floor. Because when you're 47, and I ran 2 miles yesterday, I should not be sitting on a tile floor trying to record this podcast. Oh, Jesus, help me. Okay, so anyhow, I liked that we tried something different, and so now we know. I also liked that because I have a very mixed audience on my big page where I have the 350,000 people or whatever, I know a large portion of them want nothing to do with business. And so I liked having the group that I could inundate them with all the business posts, but I didn't have to inundate my whole page. Does that make sense? It was like I could shield the people who just want to see, pictures of Ari and the basement makeover. I could shield them from all the salesy types of things and business types of things in Creators Roadmap. So I did like that. What didn't we like? Well, friends, let me tell you something. This is one of the 8 reasons why I tell people not to do a free Facebook group. They are a lot of time. They are a lot of work. People were coming in there so quickly. You guys, we were hoping for maybe 5,000 people in that group. Maybe 5,000. When we hit, we were going past 5,000 in just, I can't remember if it was the first 24 hours, but all I know is that one of the things I tell people about is if you're going to start a group, free or not, you need to turn on that little thingamajig where it asks people 3 questions to come into your group. And so for this Ramp Up Your Revenue free group, we had, hey there, did you know that this free group is just a prelude to Jennifer's Creators Roadmap course? Yes or no? Would you like to get on Jen's email list? If so, put your email below. Those were our 3 questions. So people were, left and right filling that out. Well, guys, when you have thousands in a day join a free Facebook group, we couldn't keep up. So we turned off the gathering of those emails. Even as I say that right now, it's like hearing my own voice is like fingers down a chalkboard. As an online marketer, you always get the email. You always get the email. You never not get an email. So I'm still irritated at myself that we didn't have it. And I take the entire, as a team leader here, as this being my business, I take 100% credit. We just didn't have the capacity to continue taking emails in the way that we were. So I did not like that. It was a lot of work for my team, a lot of time, and people were coming in there just so fast and furious. One of the mistakes that I think that we made is that, and I want you to go with me here, and I'm going to try to okay, now I'm kneeling on the tile floor, by the way. I'm going to try to explain this in the best ways possible. We were asking people to go from free to $1,297 at a price point. Now, I know a lot of other people do that and do it well, but I don't know that it worked well for my audience. I feel like the jump of asking them to go to free to $1,297 was just too big. So this fall, in September, we are reopening my inner circle. We haven't had a full public opening since like January, I think, of this year. And so this is, we open it twice a year. This is for anybody that's interested in growing their social media because followers matter. And we're going to reopen that pop-up group for that launch. Now, here's my thinking on that. I think asking people to go from free to $67 is a much more manageable jump. You know what I'm saying? I just think that will be easier to swallow. And then what we do is we really nurture those people who are in my inner circle to be able to join Creators Roadmap when it reopens in January. So Mark your calendars for September. If you're not in my inner circle, go to creatorsinnercircle.com to get on the wait list. I'm going to tell you why. There may or may not be a special price for people on the wait list. For everybody else, it's going up to $67 a month. It's going up $20 a month come September. So go to creatorsinnercircle.com and get on the wait list. And so I do think that it will work better with that lower price point. And so time will tell. So the bottom line is, have I changed my mind about free Facebook groups? And my final answer is no. No, I haven't changed my mind at all. I still say I don't like them. I feel like using this pop-up group, we had it open for 2.5 weeks. We will have the next one open for possibly just a little bit longer. My friend Rachel Miller was saying really to reopen that and really get reach back up in the group and really revive it, resuscitate it, give it mouth to mouth, if you will. Rachel didn't say that, but I am. That we really need to have it open for a month. So we're going to open it up and we're going to see. But I have not changed my mind. I think that if you're going to do a free group, you really need to determine how to use it strategically. Now, we've got my book launching. The date has been moved up to March of 2020. Hey. And so we will probably have a free group for people who are on my launch team. We will quite possibly have a free group for people who have purchased my book and want to discuss, or some sort of a Bible study or something that eventually comes with that. So it'll be intentional. We're going to use that super strategically. So if you have something like a book or a podcast that you'd like for people to be able to discuss on the regular, or you're getting ready to do a course launch, then perhaps use a free group in that way. But just to have a group hoping that then you can get people on your page and then you can get people on your group. No. Listen, friends, the algorithm is still in the group, okay? It confuses the heck out of your audience when you have your page and then you have this free group. And then what ends up happening is they don't understand what's the difference between the two oftentimes, and you don't. You don't know what to give the free group because you feel a little guilty because you got this little special thing, but what are you supposed to give them? Well, honey, I don't know. This is why I don't do it. I don't like it. I mean, we used it strategically just to give some exceptional content for that couple weeks, but that was all. I have seen, because I know somebody's going to forward me, the article where Mark Zuckerberg has come out and said that in the year 2020 and going forward, he really wants to give more emphasis, love, priority to groups, and that they're going to be even more important. And I saw it and I read it, and I believe it. I know that Mark is really wanting community. And so, here's my thoughts on that. You can have community, though, on your page, my friends. The way that you get the most reach out of your page is by really developing relationships with the followers on your page. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater and be like, well, I'm just going to shift everything from my page over to a group because Mark said. Well, listen, if you are hell-bent on having a free group, please make sure you're still nurturing your page. And I think it's really important that you really determine, what would be the goal? What would be the point of having this free group? If you are somebody, and I want you to listen really closely to this, okay? A lot of you listening to me are business owners who you really believe deep down in your soul that your business is more than just what your business is currently about. You know that God has something different, bigger, that He is shifting you into. For a lot of you, this is going to involve becoming a personal brand. Now, I know, because I know so many of you. I mean, when I get 3,000 of you a month in my 3 different groups that I'm talking to, I know you, all right? So I know that when I start talking about a personal brand, that instinctively your spidey senses go up and you're like, no, warning. I don't want to teach people. I don't want to be a personal brand. Listen, I get it. But also some of you are wanting to do big things like collaborations with national brands. You'd like to have a conference. You want to write a book. Let me just tell you the truth, and I talk about this in that old episode 71. When you are looking at doing things like, let me give you some examples. I have done many collaborations with Hobby Lobby. They have flown me down to their corporate offices to film videos with them. That did not come because I had a group. It came because I had a page that I nurtured the heck out of, that I loved on my audience, and that I built like a crazy woman. I am doing a breakout session at Christy Wright and Dave Ramsey's Business Boutique for the second year in a row. That comes from not having a group. That comes from having a page. I was at Rachel Hollis's home last year for a VIP event when she had her first Rise conference. That did not come because I had a group. It came because I had an influence on a page. I don't think a book deal just came my direction because of people I had in a group. It came because of what's on my page. So please, if you're thinking about having a free group, that's fine. I mean, you do it, you do whatever you want to do. But think about what your goals are. And if any of you feel just that sense, you know the sense that I'm talking about, that little like gut intuition that you're like, I think my business is actually, I think God's going to really start having me come out from behind my business a little bit more, maybe starting to talk about some more personal things, my opinions on some things, really encouraging people, maybe leading women, doing some teaching. If that's what you're thinking, my advice to you is keep building the heck out of your page. If you want to have a free group, that's fine. But figure out what the strategy is, what the point of it is. Make sure you have some help, some sort of a community manager in there to really help nurture that so it just doesn't go dead on you. And please capture those emails. I still wish that we had done that. And so that is my advice to you. I still don't love the idea of having a free Facebook group. I did like the intention behind our pop-up group. I hope that you can kind of see how we used that and how we are planning on using that in the future. And yeah, there you have it, friends. Listen, some of you are going to really disagree with me and you're going to be like, well, so-and-so has a Facebook group with 9 million bajillion people and she's rocking it. Okay, well, great for her. Great for her. But this is my podcast and this is my opinion. You take it for what it's worth. And what I will tell you is I get email after email after email from people who say, I wish I had listened to you because now I've got a Facebook group that's free and my page and I don't know how to turn this thing off. If I had $1 for every one of those emails that I have gotten. And so the problem is a lot of those people started the groups without a real clear intention and without a real clear strategy on how they were going to use the group. So if you're going to start one, that's fine. Just make sure there is a point and that it's somehow different from what you're doing on your page. Okay. So, all right, friends. One of my favorite things to do is Q&A sessions. It's the weirdest thing, you guys. You can ask anybody that came to my Equipped Women's Conference and they will tell you, when I get a microphone in my hand and people just ask me questions, that is when I feel like I shine the most. I love just getting, this is why I love live television, because I love just getting like put on the spot with questions and being able to banter and talk and what have you. And so for next week's show, I'm going to be answering listener questions that are going to be submitted on my Facebook page, and I can't wait. This could even possibly turn into a monthly series. We'll wait and see on that. And we are actually discussing the idea of doing a call-in show for my podcast and for my Facebook Lives. And so there's lots of great things coming down the pipe here at Team Allwood. And so if you don't already subscribe to this podcast, please do. Please go leave us a review. Please say nice things, and we appreciate you when you do that. And so we'll be back next week with that Q&A. Can't wait. And until then, stay creative. Bye-bye. Hey friend, thank you so much for listening to the podcast again this week. I'm so honored that you're here and that you just listen week in and week out and that you share the Jennifer Allwood Show with your friends and family. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, don't forget that you can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, or if you're an Android user, go download the Stitcher app and you can subscribe there so that you know every single week when a new episode releases. Also, if you have any time to leave us a review, these reviews are super important in getting guests for the show and sponsors for the show. And so we'd appreciate it if you have just a second to leave us a review. That would be amazing. Thank you guys again for being here. And until next week, stay creative.